Browns 29-24 winners over the Baltimore Ravens, just like we all predicted, right? Their second win of the season, their first win since week 2 against the Jaguars. Actually, today, their first second half lead in a football game since week 2 in Jacksonville. So, of course, the story today is Jameis Winston. He throws for 334 yards and 3 touchdowns in this victory, Mary Kay. And this was Jameis's first start since his time in New Orleans, and he certainly took advantage of it.
He really did. I just wrote that he brought some of that Joe Flacco magic here to the lakefront. It is exactly what the doctor ordered. Emotions were running high. This was the game a day after Jim Donovan passed away. People were very sad and upset in the stadium. We know what happened last week with the fans, and they needed some good news here in this game, and they certainly got it. And Jameis Winston provided all the energy, all the spark that they needed, and again, 3 touchdowns, engineered that game-winning touchdown drive, hitting Ced Tillman with his second touchdown, 59 seconds left in the game. It was so exciting. It was so great to see the fans be happy down here for the first time this whole entire season, really. So good for Jameis and good for the Browns.
And we'll note here that Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry actually drove and delivered a game ball to Jim Donovan's family after this game. So a really touching moment there. Ashley, you wrote after the game, this was sort of the full Jameis experience today.
Yeah, it felt like that, especially on the Browns' very first and last offensive drives, because there were some darts that he throws where it's just on the money. He's getting the ball out quick, making big plays. And then there's also the near mishaps, the picks, the almost picks, I should say, where the Browns got lucky on both of those drives. Their first drive, Eddie Jackson dropped a would-be pick in the end zone. And obviously on the last drive, Kyle Hamilton dropped one, had one go through his hands near the Browns sideline. The very next play, Jameis Winston connects with Cedric Tillman for that 38-yard game-winning score. And really, that's just the Jameis Winston experience to me. Big plays, big chances. Sometimes it's not always going to work out. He did lose a fumble today, not on either of those drives. But that was his only turnover. No picks in this game, just some near ones.
Okay, we'll get back to Jameis in a minute, but we do want to talk about Cedric Tillman, who had a breakout game today, scored his first 2 career touchdowns, had a career high with 99 receiving yards, and of course, his 38-yard touchdown reception from Jameis Winston, the play that Ashley just mentioned, was the go-ahead score, Mary Kay.
Yeah, the thing about the receivers is they all kind of woke up and snapped to attention, and things were starting to get a little ugly on the receiving corps before today. So all the dogs ate. They were all excited about it. And as you mentioned, Ced Tillman, huge game. Too bad he couldn't have gotten one more yard for the 100-yard game, but 2 touchdowns, did a really nice job. Again, let's remember, they were going against the 32nd ranked pass defense. They were without 2 of their best cornerbacks. So this is a game in which you should take those shots and you should call your shots, especially they were 1-6. What do you have to lose? So try anything. They did, and Ced was a beneficiary of that.
Ashley, this was the game that the Browns, I think, have been waiting for from Ced Tillman. It's been a long year and a half so far in his career.
It has been, and he was, of course, I think one of, if not the star of the offseason program. Everyone talked so much about the high expectations for him, from Deshaun Watson to the coaches to his fellow receivers. And then he came out and through the Browns' first 6 games only had 9 yards. I think one of the most notable points of his year up until today was dropping that crucial 4th down catch against the Giants. After that game, he sat despondent at his locker, said he let the team down. He didn't have any targets over the next 3 games, but these last 2 weeks, he's bounced back really nicely. Had the 80-plus yard game against Cincinnati last week, built on that this week. He talked about learning from Amari Cooper, who obviously the Browns just traded 12 days ago, how to have a short memory. That was one of the biggest things Amari Cooper taught to him while he was here, and he said he used it this week for sure.
Okay, I said we'd get back to Jameis. Now we're back to Jameis. Big picture, as we spin this forward, the Browns have the Chargers next week, then they have their bye week, then they're going to, well, let's see if they can make a run here, I guess. Mary Kay, what does this game mean for the quarterback position moving forward?
Well, first of all, the Browns players will tell you to a man that this game means, hey, they're not out of it yet. But once again, they're 2-6, a total long shot to make the playoffs. So really what they're still looking at is the future of their quarterback position, and they have decisions to make. Will Jameis be a part of that? His contract is up after this year. Will they want to see more of Dorian Thompson-Robinson? They might want to see more of him this year as they plan for their future. Now, one thing this game may have done, and if Jameis continues on like this, it could drop them down in the draft order to the point where maybe they don't get their hands on the quarterback that they might want in the draft in April. But they're not going to worry about that right at the moment. They want to win some football games, and they finally now have a quarterback at this moment who can lift them out of the doldrums.
Yeah, I don't know if this is, Mary Kay, you wrote about this on Saturday. I don't know if this is necessarily planning for life after Deshaun. We'll see about all of that. But this could be kind of planning for quarterback life with Deshaun moving forward. What does that look like? And that's something that if Jameis continues to play well, if he starts to struggle, whatever happens, Ashley, they kind of have to get answers about what this ultimately looks like.
Yeah, I think you do. And I think, of course, one game is such a small sample size still. And again, we talked about this leading up to this game. Multiple variables have changed with this offense at once. Obviously, Jameis Winston, your starter now after Deshaun Watson's injury. Kevin Stefanski also handed play calling duties over to Ken Dorsey this week. So some of these changes, it's hard to know what exactly the cause of them is, why things look today the way that they did versus why the offense had struggled throughout the first 7 games of the year the way that it had. So I definitely think you just need more games with Jameis Winston. And you see, he talked at length this week about going to New Orleans when he did, learning that backup role behind Drew Brees with Sean Payton, how that taught him to maybe not take all of the shots that he would have taken as a younger quarterback. So I'm really curious, especially to see if those mistakes, those takeaways or the giveaways are going to pop up, because we obviously know this Browns offense, Kevin Stefanski, that's like his number one pet peeve is quarterbacks giving the ball away.
But like we saw with Joe Flacco, if you throw for 350 yards while you're turning it over and win football games, maybe you can live with it. Anyway, if that continues to happen, if it doesn't, whatever happens, we'll cover it all at cleveland.com/Browns.